Good evening, Professor. This is my personal timetable. So, in the last week, I mainly focus on the D5 chip for working to check like how it works and what are the capacitance value in the case of first case, as I already mentioned, that we use the Piranha and then use the graphene oxide, EDC, NHS, and then antibody. So in the previously week, I already shared this PPT in our group chat. We have the 25 chip and we did the bare one, graphene oxide, and afterwards like we use EDC, NHS, and then washing. So after washing, I have uh, checked that some of the chip having the not some, it's like all the chips having the less capacitance value uh, as compared to the ADC NHS, and it does not below to the graphene oxide. It means the itself having the EDC content onto the chip. So if I say here like the first chip we having the graphene oxide is 331 picofarad, and in the case of EDC NHS we have 2.15 nanofarad, but after washing with ethanol, so I found that it's a 98.9 picofarad. It means exceed from the graphene oxide and below from the EDC NHS. So like itself having the EDC is present onto the surface. So the same all in all the chip we got the same kind of results. So if I share here the step by step graph, so if you see here the case 1 up to the graphene oxide, we have this kind of graph. The value is become constant, and sometimes it's not, because in the case of pH, in the case of 3 chips like 1, 2 and 3. But if I exclude these 3 chips and then consider the rest of the chip, so I found that um, the chip is getting constant, because after ADC I found that the same chip, like the graphene oxide having the uh, also the value, so an overlap onto the ADC NHS value, like exceed from the ADC and graphene oxide. So as I mentioned in the table, like the value is more than the graphene oxide. It means there is something onto the surface and the capacitance will all automatically increase. When I wash with the ethanol and the DI water, so I found that some chip like from up to 12 chip we fix with the ethanol, and the rest of the chip wash with the DI water. So the value is more constant in the case of ethanol as compared to DI, because maybe I think DI is just take out the graphene oxide or like EDC content, but in the case of ethanol, washing after washing the value is also more constant. If I compare here the 3, 4, 5th, 6th and the 10th, 11th, 12th, so all the value is more constant on linearly increasing. So I considered these 4 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 chips for the next step. So I immobilize antibody is already having the SARS-CoV-2 antibody. So I just check it like how it works and what we got in the other, in the positive or like negative results. So I considered this one. So I just used the previously already prepared the antibody sample. So I found that, so after antibody emulation, we got this kind of result in the case of nanofarad. But unfortunately, we got the three value is not constant, like 5.27, 7.16, and 6.14 nanofarad. It's getting the higher value as compared to the others. So I have to make the fresh sample of antibody. So I already make a calculation like how much we have to use for making the solution, and simultaneously also making the different, like making the new chips sample for the case of 1 as well as case 2 as well, I consider for the next step. So in this week I have to check with the fresh sample of antibody, and simultaneously also working in the case of 2, like to mix together graphene oxide with APTS, and then we use EDCNHS. Yeah, at the conclusion part, if I say like case 1 is more feasible now because our chip is more getting the positive response, so we move to the D5 chip and to do the case 2 as well. So in this week I'll definitely delivered my result of case 1 and case 2 both, and then afterwards, after getting your comments and suggestions, I'll move to the case 3. Is like we have to use the separational step, like first we have to use APTS and graphene oxide and the ADCNHS. So I just want to tell you that in this week I have to make first like fresh samples of antibody, and the second is I have to start the case 2 as well. So these two things I have to work in this week and implement onto the D5 chip, and once I will fix it, then I will make a table of all the calculations and deliver to you in this week, sir. And this is the basic process in the table form, like what we have to follow the in these three cases. So first one, case 1 and case 2 is my priority list in this week, and afterwards the case 3 will do it. And once I will fix it, sir, and then I will deliver to you the results in the table form. Thank you, sir.